Ladies and gentlemen, my name is BrendenPlayz, and this is the big one. It is the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, the biggest event of the year. We have been building towards this pay-per-view for the last 10 months of in-game time. Over 30 episodes of TEW. It will lead and culminate to this very moment where we have the big show of the year. Bound for Glory. It is tonight, and this is going to be a big one. We have a lot of big matches in store for you. Before we get to Bound for Glory, as always, we're going to check in on the news, check in what's been going on, and I'm sure that this is going to be a fun pay-per-view. I'm hoping that it's our best pay-per-view that we've ever produced. That's the goal. We want to beat everything we've ever done. And to do so, we'll have a quick look at our user stats. Our best ever show, as we checked last episode, 94 rated. It was just a random impact shot. I think our Slammiversary got the same kind of rating, if not very, very close. Our best ever match is Fallen Angel versus Samoa Joe in a submission match, 97 rated. I don't know if we've got anything on the cards that could beat that tonight. Unless Muhammad Hassan and Christian really kill it, I don't know if we can beat that. Hopefully we can. Our best attendance is nearly 16,000 at Slammiversary, which is crazy. Best buy rate 0.35 with Hard Justice. And was that our last pay-per-view? No, maybe not. Maybe the one before. So our last pay-per-view was No Surrender, then Hard Justice. So not too long ago, and 0.35 was the buy rate there. So we need to try and beat some of that. That's the goal here tonight. We've got some big things going down. Obviously, the big one is Christian versus Muhammad Hassan for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. That's the storyline, 91 rated at the moment. Excellent stuff. But also, we've also got a new storyline. We've got Jeff Jarrett and Goldberg. We're going to kick off that storyline, and we're going to go from there. Goldberg, we haven't really done anything yet. We've just been hyping him. And Jeff Jarrett obviously cut a promo and said, hey, let's have a match. And I figured, you know what, let's just go for it. Jeff Jarrett's not doing anything on the pay-per-view. It'd be a shame to leave Jeff Jarrett out. He's had a pretty good year. He deserves to be on the show. So we'll give him and Goldberg a match on the card. Alright, so as for the latest mail, so we got a 0.36 rating for Explosion. Tracy Brooks has officially gone on maternity leave. She's done. She's out. And she's gone for 7 months and 3 weeks. So basically 8 months she's gone. So we kind of expected that length of time. Speaking of maternity leave, Stephanie McMahon, she's gone, but she's only on maternity leave for 5 months. So, hey, she doesn't, mess around. She's going to come back as soon as she can. Whereas Tracy Brooks would like to take a few extra months if she can. We could have got Demaja, aka Danny Basham. No point getting one Basham and not getting the other, so we didn't bother making a play. The other one we could look at is Kid Cash. His contract is expiring, 58 popularity, and some good stats. Would be a really good addition to the X Division. The only issue I have is his age, 37. He's probably got another couple of 2-3 years in him left. Then he'll start to decline. We've already got so many good names that we're trying to develop and get through. Is there a spot for Kid Cash? I don't know. But look, him as part of the X Division could be really, really useful. So we have to kind of weigh up our options. We recently lost Low Key, and we at least recently lost Bryan Danielson. So we have lost a couple of our X Division names. Bringing in Kid Cash wouldn't be a bad idea, a bad solution. He's not got the best mic ability or anything like that, but has some good in-ring ability, decent aerial flashiness, good basics and psychology. So he would have some good matches, no doubt about that. I've kind of convinced myself to make a play at him. A few people don't want him to be brought in. WWE offering him 11,000. Now the thing is, I don't think we're ever going to win a bidding war with WWE. We'll offer Kid Cash 13 grand, and we'll give him 1 year. Now 1 year might not entice him. No, he'd rather 2 years. He still doesn't want to come. So unless we're willing to improve our offer, so we might have to give him that bonus. I was hoping I can take that bonus away from him. He still would rather the WWE, even after we're giving him a much bigger payday. So we'll give him that contract. I'm not going to throw the checkbook at him. I'm not going to give him everything in the world. But we'll give him that. We'll see how he goes. Joy Giovanni, her developmental contract is up for renewal. I think I might just let her go. It's She's not even wrestling in our GFW developmental. The only time she's wrestled is when we brought her up from developmental here on Impact. She's shown no ability at all. She's not a wrestler. She's got good sex appeal, yes, but you know, with a lack of mic ability, there's no real point bringing her in because she can't talk. She's going to be, you know, a valet. We wanted to be at least able to cut a promo or act or something, and she can't really do any of that. So we're going to have to let her go, and we'll see. You know, she might go away, get signed somewhere else and improve, bring her back then, but until then, I doubt she will, but if that happens, fair enough. Lance Hoyt, he's gone. We've let him go. We decided to let his contract expire. Just again, nothing for him. We just have no use for him, no real plans to do much with him. So rather than drive him out constantly, you know, we haven't even been having him wrestle that often because his matches are not that good. You know, let's have a look. He's, you know, 2-time TNA Tag Team Champion with Kid Cash. So if we had have known that, we could have used him as a tag team. But his best matches is only 77, and that was against Homicide. Abyss could only get 73 out of him. Bobby Roode could only get 72 out of him. So that goes to show that you just can't get greatness out of him. There just isn't much there. So no real need to keep him around. We're going to let him go. And the other one, Brother Runt, he's gone. We knew that. We only brought him in for a short-term thing. We brought him in just to fill a gap and compete with the Dudleys to take on America's Most Wanted. He got beaten up a few times and now he's gone. So yes, a very short stay for him in TNA. We didn't have much use for him. And this is the big one. Out of all the news, this is the most concerning one. Bobby Lashley has announced that he has accepted a MMA fight. He will start his camp in 2 months. So Lashley in 2 months' time is gone. That's it. He's done for, I would say, at least 3 to 6 months, maybe more. Now, the good news is there is, I think, a potential. I'm not sure about MMA fights. I'm not 100% sure. I know when someone accepts a movie role and, you know, they go away, they come back with a lot better popularity. If Lashley wins his MMA fight, fingers crossed that his popularity does improve and he does get a boost out of it. I'm not sure if that will happen, but fingers crossed that happens. So we knew he was an MMA fighter. We knew this could potentially happen. So now the question is, do we still go with the planned storyline of having Lashley as this next big thing dominating under Paul Heyman, with Paul Heyman by his side? I don't think we do. I think we change plans. I honestly do. I don't think it's the right idea to have Lashley just start with Paul Heyman, then go in 2 months time. Then what do you do with Paul Heyman? You've got to re-establish him again with someone else for the time being. You don't want Paul Heyman sitting around doing nothing. So, in my opinion, I think the best call is just to put the Lashley thing on hold, bring it back later on. Maybe we bring back Lashley as a heel. It's possible, not a bad heel. We bring him back as a heel and have Heyman turn and go with Lashley down the line. Because they haven't debuted as a team yet. It hasn't happened. Luckily, we didn't do it a couple weeks ago when we planned. We were going to do it after Bound for Glory. So luckily, for whatever reason, I decided not to do it, and thank God I didn't, because now that would have been ruined. So I think what we'll do is we'll have Lashley stay by himself, and we may as well put Heyman with Goldberg, which was one of our original plans. We may as well go with that and have Heyman and Goldberg, because Goldberg needs him. Pretty poor microphone ability. Heyman fills that void. And if we don't want to use Goldberg every week, similar to what we use in Brock Lesnar in real life WWE right now, we can do that same treatment with Goldberg. Because he's 39, we don't want to overuse him. So we might just go with that. We might just do that, and we'll have a very similar thing. Instead of it being Brock Lesnar, it's Goldberg. And we'll do that similar thing, but here in TNA. So that was the original plan. We changed it to Lashley, with you guys saying Lashley was the better call. I agreed. But now our, things have changed, and we have to kind of go with the flow, and that's the beauty of the game. Things change all the time. A curveball has been thrown all the time. It's how you react is the difference between success or failure. So we're going to go with this change, and hopefully these two work well together. So that's pretty much it. That's in the news. That's all we have really going on. We may as well get into it right now. The other thing, last thing, was Kevin Thorne. His developmental contract expired. We have given him a new contract, 2-year deal, but but he won't go back to developmental. He doesn't want to be in developmental anymore. And I figured, you know what, let's keep him on the main roster, and let's do what we wanted to do. We've got Abyss and Sting right now. How long can we get this feud going for? What can we do? Well, you know, we'll wait and see. But we wanted to do Kevin Thorne and Abyss as a tag team and form a bit of a stable with James Mitchell in there as well. Form this cult kind of group with, you know, these, you know, demonic, you know, I don't know, what can we really say? These monsters in one stable, James Mitchell controlling them kind of thing. So I think it might be time to pull the trigger on that. Abyss isn't doing anything after Bound for Glory unless we want to continue the Sting feud, and we could obviously bring Kevin Thorne in and incorporate that in. So we definitely could do that. So we may as well do that. We might as well just go with that and fast track that now. I don't know if Kevin Thorne is 100% ready, but in a tag team with Abyss, he'll get carried and he'll do okay. So we'll fast track that ahead of schedule. And other than that, we might as well, you have to give a few bonuses out to some of our guys. We want to make sure that they're happy as they possibly can be. Goldberg, well, you want to make him happy, you got to pay the big bucks. He's still not happy. You give him 30 grand and you think he'd be happy. Well, all right, surely now, okay, he's happy. So that cost us 50 grand to make him happy. You might be wondering, well, that's a waste of money. But no, because if he's upset, then you're not going to get the best performance out of him at the pay-per-view. Now, a few other ones, you know, Raven, we're not going to use him. Shannon Moore, not using him. Jazz, not using her. Andy Douglas, not using him. So we're not going to be using them at the pay-per-view, so it's not important. Well, the other ones that we are using, we may as well keep them happy and, you know, try and get the best we can out of them. So it's time for Bound for Glory. Let's get into it. We've changed the date to a Saturday, hoping that things work out for us. Here's one issue already. Tanahashi. So there goes our global championship match. Tanahashi is working elsewhere. Kevin Nash is working elsewhere. And so is Jushin Liger. So we missed out on the global championship match, which is disappointing. I think we definitely had time to put that match on the show. And this time around, we actually have got a deal with a different broadcast, a pay-per-view company. So we've gone with Time Warner, which is a very big coverage, whereas Shaw Direct is only big, but it also does Canada. I don't know what's the best one to go for. It's a bit of a risk to be trying it on this pay-per-view. Do we go very big in one region, or do we go big and cover two regions? I don't know. You know, that's the big call. But we're going to go with the very big in two regions. I don't think we have the best time slot in Time Warner, so this could be a real bad move. But we got to risk it sometimes, and we're going to do that. So I know it's probably not the best time to risk it, but we'll go for it, and we'll lock that in. And okay, so Prodigy Tips, passing that along. So we might actually book you guys for the ride on a few different matches here while we start things off here. So we haven't really done that for a while now, but since this is the big show, we might as well open things up and kind of do it that way. I think the best way to open up the pay-per-view is to do the X Division match. Now, the question is, do we do one-on-one? Do we go with Shelley and Angel one-on-one, or do we do Kazarian, Shelley, Sabin, and Angel in a Fatal 4-Way? Normally I'd probably go the Fatal 4-Way, but I feel like Angel and Shelley will deliver better if it's just one-on-one. I feel like definitely Kazarian will bring the match down, and possibly Sabin. So I think to get the best out of these two and get the best possible match, I think we could just stick one-on-one. We are going to give Fallen Angel the victory, because Fallen Angel is so far ahead right now over the division, it's hard to really justify bringing and sacrificing him for someone else. And Shelley will definitely get his opportunity at some point, but for now I think the right call is to just give Fallen Angel another victory. Okay, so after that match, we're going to go with a promo. We're going to do this to try and hype up some of the storyline heat for one of our rivalries. We want to just improve that just a little bit further if we can. So, actually, we want to change that to a interview by a manager. We might do Homicide and Conan. So we might have Conan hyping up Homicide and Sabu. So we'll have them hype that up. He doesn't want a script, so we won't give him a script. And then we'll go with Sabu versus Homicide here. So we're going to probably go with a hardcore type match. We could go barbed wire match, which is the the whole ring wrapped around with barbed wire. They've changed the ropes to barbed wire, which is nuts. That's a crazy match. So we could do that. We'll have a look at some of the other ones we've got. So we want more of a hardcore base match. We go with the simple death match, ECW rules match, just a straight up hardcore match. Fans bring the weapons match. That's a good way to interact with the fans. Razor wire death. What is that? That does not sound good at all. We don't want our wrestlers to die, so that's not the plan here. But we do want to have a pretty, brutal match. Barbed wire massacre. So that could be interesting. So variation of the barbed wire match in which pieces of the wood with barbed wire attached to them surrounded the ring, with the ring ropes also being replaced by barbed wire. Okay, so that's nuts. We could just do an ambulance match. I don't know. Screw it. We'll go with the barbed wire match. And Sabu, Homicide. So you start off with a good technical match to kick the pay-per-view off, and then we go into something crazy with hardcore. So hardcore is Sabu's best stat. Same with Homicide. We'll give Homicide the victory. Obviously, he's the guy that we are continuing to push, and we want that. We might have that be our car crash match. We always have to have a car crash and a wild brawl on every show, so we'll do that. Then we might do another hype. So we might have Bobby Roode and Eric Young hyping up their match against Kenta and Marufuji. Hype that up just to build that a little bit. We'll go ahead and do the match now as well. So we want to try and get as many people as we can on the card on this episode. Obviously it's Bound for Glory. We've got 4 hours to fill as well, so we've got plenty of time. So it's not as though we are restricted, so we may as well utilize that time to the best of our ability. So we'll give this match, we'll give it 18 minutes. That should be long enough. And do we give it to Kenta and Marufuji, or do we give it to Bobby Roode and Eric Young? We might give it to Roode and Young. We might give it to them, and to get Matt Morgan on the show, because obviously we can't do that because the match we wanted to do, because Tanahashi's unavailable. We'll have Matt Morgan interfere and distract Kenta, costing them the match. So that's a way to get him involved as well. Then we might go with one of our big headline matches now. So we might do a hype video, hyping up. We might go with Scott Steiner and Jeff Hardy. So have that 4 minutes long. We'll hype that match up there. And what can we do here? We could have some kind of gimmick attached to it. I don't know how well Jeff Hardy's brawl ability is. We might have a quick look and see. So he's got 66 brawl, hardcore 65. So not sure if we're better off going in that way. Scott Steiner's 61 brawl. So for Steiner, to get the best out of him, I think definitely a brawl would probably be the way to go. So we might actually try and do some kind of brawl match. And obviously the storyline with Jeff Hardy being taken out because of Scott Steiner might be a good idea to do. And they did have a bit of a backstage brawl there. So we could go with a street fight. We don't want to overdo it though with the gimmicks. We do have the casket match coming up later on. So this and maybe the casket match might be that's it. That's our gimmicks for the night. So we might go with a street fight, Scott Steiner and Jeff Hardy, hoping that the gimmick does help them out a little bit further. And we will have Jeff Hardy beat Steiner because Jeff Hardy is the younger man and he's the future, and we'll have the Wild Brawl attached to it as well, hoping that does help. Scott Steiner's unhappy. Well, sorry, Scott. You're just going to have to deal with it. That's just the way it's going to go. So we might book some of the pre-show matches, but I think one match I was going to do on the pre-show is just your regular Battle Royal. Just a big Battle Royal to get everyone on that we probably aren't going to use. We might try and find space for that to put it on the main show. So a few names that we don't have anything for here tonight. Lashley, Rhino, Ron Killings. Raven's one of them. I don't know. Is it worth putting him on the show? I don't know how bad is he going to do? A-Train's got nothing. So a few of these guys from the Bound for Glory series that haven't been given another storyline are in this predicament. So we got 5 there. What about Test? He's got nothing as well. So we could go with him. We could give Matt Morgan the match, but he's already been involved, so we don't really need to. Plus, we don't want him to have a loss. We could go Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. They're doing nothing, and they're pretty high up on the card too. So we'll do that, and we need to find 2 more names. Let's have a look. Austin Aries isn't doing anything. We might give him that opportunity. And just take away some of these other ones. We can narrow it down a little better. Just need to find 1 more. Who deserves an opportunity? Who's done pretty well? That's the thing. Who's done well enough that they deserve a chance to be on the card? We could go Alex Skipper because that would obviously utilize the Truth and Skipper rivalry. So we'll go with that. Just a 10-man battle royal. And make it 15 minutes long. Who do we give the victory to? Well, probably would give it to Lashley, but since he's going to be going away soon, I don't know if that's the right call. Do we give it to someone else? No, we'll keep Lashley strong. We'll give Lashley the victory, and we'll utilize Lashley a little bit more. So we've got 2 more months with Lashley, and he's gone, but we'll make the most out of that. We'll give him some opportunities to prove himself. We might just do a women's matchup. We'll do that on the pre-show, and then we'll show you the rest because we've kind of shown you enough of the how we're going to do this. So we're just going to do a women's match on the pre-show just to utilize some of our women, and we might have Alyssa and Molly Holly, and they can take on Beth Phoenix and Sarah Del Rey. So we'll do that. And we'll put that on the pre-show, and we'll give the victory to Molly Holly. We do really need to start building some more heels on the women's side of things. We are lacking a little bit there. And for lastly, we could do Natalya, and I guess we're really lacking heels, aren't we? We might have to do Natalya and Jazz as their other one, which probably won't go over too well, but just so we get some women on the show. We still have the Gail Kim and Melina match that will be featured later on as well, but we want to make sure we utilize our women, otherwise we'll get punished for not doing so. But we'll show you the rest of the card when it's all finished, and we'll show the results of everything, but I just wanted to kind of show you some of the process of booking Bound for Glory, just some of the thought process of what I'm kind of thinking, what kind of matches I'm looking at. But that's the first third of the card. Is still another 2 hours to book, so more than that is another 3 or 4 hours we can do. We can do up to 300 minutes, so we can have a 5-hour long pay-per-view. That's crazy, plus the pre-show, so it's going to be a long one. We may as well utilize all the minutes we can, because we don't get penalized for having more minutes, we get penalized for not having enough. So we'll go with that, and we'll show you the rest of the card in a moment's time. Okay, here we go. This is Bound for Glory, our biggest event of the year. The show is booked. Let's get into it. So we start things off with Alyssa Flash and Molly Holly versus Beth Phoenix and Sarah Del Rey. Molly Holly is the best in the match, 70 rated performance. We gave Molly Holly the victory. 89 rated match between the two. Wow. Frankie Kazarian and Chris Sabin. We put it on the pre-show because we couldn't find any time for it. I'm starting to think that was a bad idea. Really. We didn't go with the Fatal 4-Way. I was very tempted to go with it. I thought because we couldn't get these two on the main show that the Fatal 4-Way was the right call. But I'm thinking that, look, these two had a killer match on the pre-show. It doesn't matter. That's still good. It's still good, and we're going to stick with it. That's fine. 89 rated between the two. Can't be happier than that. That's excellent. And really good for both of their developments as well. Chris Sabin got the victory in the end by submission. We had the Battle Royal. We had A-Train, Aries, Billy Gunn, Alex Skipper, Lashley, Molly Brown, Rhino, Road Dogg, R-Truth, and Test in the Battle Royal. Lashley won the Battle Royal. Of course, Alex Skipper sustained a concussion. That's not good. And Ron Killings got some heat because he gave him the concussion. So there you go. And then this segment here basically was lots of people hanging out backstage. We'll call it that. Lots of people hanging out backstage. 8 people that weren't on the show hanging out backstage, gathering around, celebrating its Bound for Glory, getting ready for the big show. Some people involved were Raven, Chase, Andy Douglas, Chase Stevens, Raven, Sarita, Jay Lethal, people who weren't on the show. Now for the main show. Started things off with Fallen Angel and Alex Shelley. 90 rated match. That's a pretty good start. Fallen Angel 96 rated. Really good start to the show. I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. Fallen Angel and Alex Shelley. We could have went with the Fatal 4-Way. Who's to say it would have been better or worse? But you can't complain with that. That's really strong, and that's really good for our X Division. Again, another good showcase for our X Division. And Shelley, we didn't give him the win. We gave Fallen Angel the victory, but certainly Shelley can't be too far away from getting a run with the X Division Championship. That's really impressive from him. Conan had a promo hyping up Homicide's match with Sabu. And their match was 77 rated, so the barbed wire matchup between the two. Homicide, 88 in-ring performance, Sabu, 69. So that's pretty good. You can't complain with that. I mean, Homicide definitely carried, and it was a good little thing for Homicide to do whilst we kind of took him away from Fallen Angel for a little bit. And I think we could probably go with Homicide maybe versus AJ Styles, or Homicide versus Frankie Kazarian, something like that, bring him back in the X Division soon. So we gave him that victory over Sabu. Sabu's obviously an older guy now, but yeah, good match between the two. Bobby Roode and Eric Young hyped up their match with Marufuji and Kenta, and that match was 77 rated, so a little bit below what I was hoping for. Eric Young really lacked. He only had a 70 rated performance compared to the rest. Kenta 85, Roode 84, 77 overall. And Bobby Roode and Eric Young got the victory. We then had Scott Steiner and Jeff Hardy. This is the first of our big matches. I don't know how this match is going to go. I think they had a match a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't great. I don't know if these two just work well together. Maybe they don't mesh very well together. I don't know. But fingers crossed it does work well. Fingers crossed everything works out okay, because let's hope. Otherwise, otherwise it's kind of a bit of a damper on the show already. We want to have one of our better matches. We want to keep the show going strong. So far it's been good. We don't want to have a bad match. So let's have a look. 74. Not excellent. Jeff Hardy 78, Scott Steiner 70. Lacks some psychology. 74. We gave Jeff Hardy the win over Scott Steiner. Little disappointing. Yeah, could have been better. Definitely could have been better. I guess these two just don't mesh well together. We tried to force it. We tried to hope for the best. Tried to gimmick it up a little bit with the street fight. Didn't matter. Just couldn't get the best out of these two. Sometimes two opponents just don't work well together, and this isn't one of those cases. Jeff Jarrett had a promo hyping up his match with Goldberg. Well, he's calling out Goldberg, talking some trash about Goldberg. He wants him to appear tonight, and Jeff Jarrett wants to be the one to take down Goldberg on his first night. We'll see how that goes. Gal Kim Melina 77 rated matchup. Gal Kim's gimmick is getting a little stale, but we did give Melina the Impact Knockouts Championship for the first time in the series. We have a new women's champion. Melina wins it. I think Gal Kim had something like 17 title defenses between Impact and Global Force. So really good stuff from Gal Kim, but it's time to give someone else an opportunity with it, and it's going to be Melina. Afterwards, we had Awesome Kong trying to beat up Melina, trying to spoil the celebration, but Melina was able to fend her off, and Awesome Kong had to retreat. So disappointing for Kong. She couldn't get revenge for her ally, Gal Kim. And afterwards, we've got a bit of a surprise here. Bret Hart is our Bound for Glory guest host. So he's the special guest host for the night, coming out to, kind of hype up the show for the fans and say hello and be the legend on the show. But we have a bit of an issue. Bret Hart, whilst he was hyping up the crowd, talking to the crowd, Jeff Jarrett came out and decided to steal the spotlight, take that moment away from Bret Hart, and started attacking Bret Hart. But Goldberg, the music hit, he came out for the save, and he took down Jeff Jarrett, 94 rated. That is Goldberg's debut. Above average for his gimmick. Would have hoped for a little bit better, but there you go. Goldberg hits, and yes, Bret Hart and Goldberg, real life aren't the best of friends or anything like that. But we're going to ignore that. They're you know, put those differences aside for the sake of the game, for the sake of the segment, and Goldberg performs, because the reason why I did it is because there really was no other way I could kind of get Bret Hart involved in doing something meaningful. So this is how I did it, and it worked pretty well, 94. Then we have Goldberg and Jeff Jarrett one-on-one. So we did the match afterwards. Jeff Jarrett shook it off and did the match. Goldberg got the victory, and it was a 15-minute match, so I was a little unsure how this would go, but it certainly exceeded my expectations. Goldberg 74 rated, Jeff Jarrett 92. Not enough selling, that's fine. Goldberg was getting tired towards the end, so we might have to limit Goldberg back to maybe 12, 11 minutes. But 85, that goes to show that Goldberg can still go. 74 rated, Goldberg can still go. That's for sure. That's good news. That's very good news. So we've got Goldberg, I think, for another 10 or 9 months or something like that. He can still go. We didn't debut Paul Heyman yet either. We're going to do that later on Impact, because we wanted it to be all about Goldberg tonight, not Paul Heyman. So Paul Heyman will be introduced in the next few weeks. Afterwards, we had Goldberg and Bret Hart celebrating with the fans. So Bret Hart was on commentary for the match, by the way, and afterwards Bret Hart and Goldberg celebrated, so there you go. Then we had Team 3D versus America's Most Wanted 87 rated match. Team 3D made it defense number 2 of their TNA World Tag Titles. It was a tag team tables elimination match. 19-minute long match. Everyone in the match performed well, really good. It did lack some psychology, but whatever. 87, can't complain. Our two best teams going at it, and it was pretty damn good. Then we had Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. Samoa Joe hyping up the match with AJ Styles, I should say. Let's hope this match is good. Joe and Styles, 95 rated, so there you go. Not quite our best yet. 95, Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles, and Joe 94, Styles 93. Excellent chemistry, excellent match, and it was a bit of a match of who is going to be the next big thing. These two guys are probably our two young guns, our two next big names in TNA, but who's going to get there first? Joe or Styles? Well, Joe won the match, so you'd have to say Joe is on track first. And we did say a few episodes ago that the plan was probably to give Joe that big push rather than AJ Styles right now. So Styles maybe will go back to the X Division, whilst Joe might get that push into the world title picture. Then we had James Mitchell cutting a promo on Sting on behalf of Abyss. We had the video package hyping up Sting and Abyss. This is the casket match between the two. Who knows how this is going to go? We need Abyss to carry Sting, so let's hope he does. 77 rated. There you go. So Sting 60, Abyss 86, and we gave Abyss the victory. Now we thought about giving Sting the win, and you're probably thinking, why? Well, I just felt as though Sting's a legend. We wanted to keep him strong. We wanted to give him a lot of wins and keep him at that status where, you know, kind of like Undertaker a little bit, where he comes in and out, but he's so respected and so good. And when he loses, it's a big deal. So we only want him to lose on big occasions. This is Bound for Glory, so this is the time that he should lose. But we just felt as though he's lost a little bit too much as of late. But on the other side, Abyss has lost a lot too, and we want to do that big stable with Abyss. So you don't want to start a new stable with someone and they've just had a major loss behind them. It ruins the momentum and credibility right from the get-go. Whereas Abyss, he comes off from putting Sting in a casket and winning the match, then he makes this new stable. He's a big deal. He's a big deal, and you have that fear, and he's got that dominant side to him. So you have that momentum right from the get-go. So 77 rated, not bad match between the two, but certainly we needed more out of Sting. We just didn't get it. I don't think we can get it. That's the best we can get out of him. And here we go. So video package hyping up Muhammad Hassan and Christian Cage. This is it. This is our main event. We had the big special entrance, 86 rated. We need this match to be good. Our show so far has been solid, but not legendary yet. We need a big match to close this pay-per-view out. We need a big one. I hope we can get 95, 94. That will get us nearly across the line. I think we need something like that to get us through. Otherwise, we're gone. That's it. We're done. We need this. We need this big match. Here we go. The main event of Bound for Glory. Do or die. 95. So we got it. We wanted 95. We got it. 24-minute match. Muhammad Hassan wins the World Championship. Christian, after holding it for majority of the series, now has lost it. And Muhammad Hassan wins the passing of the torch, I guess. Hassan as our new top heel. And after all this time building and building and building him, winning Bound for Glory, he wins the World Championship, kind of legitimizing the Bound for Glory series as well. It was the first edition of the Bound for Glory series that we've done. We legitimized that series. We legitimized Muhammad Hassan. But here's the thing, Hassan and Christian don't click. So these two have bad chemistry. Imagine if they had good chemistry. They would tear the house down, but they have bad chemistry and they still managed a 95 rate. A bad chemistry means you get 70 or 60. But these two have such good popularity and so much momentum that it carried to a 95. That's unbelievable. But really, really sucks that this could have been an absolute disaster. They don't have any chemistry. This could have been a colossal failure. This could have been an absolute utter failure and ruined the entire show right there. But we were saved. Thank goodness for that. We were saved, even though they don't have great chemistry. So what do? Do we do a rematch? I don't know. That's a risk. But what I do know is Muhammad Hassan won, and afterwards he did a crazy celebration, celebrating that he won, and he was certainly going over the top, healing it up a little bit. So 90 rated for that. And overall, 94 rated. We didn't quite beat it. Damn, we didn't quite beat our best show. We equaled it, but we didn't beat it. Nearly 23,000 in attendance. That's amazing. That's really, really good. We didn't beat it though, man. I really, really wanted to beat it. I think we probably got let down by the opener, being only just 90. Probably, if I had my time back, I would probably go with AJ Styles and Samoa Joe opening the show, because I think that's a stronger match. But we had faith in Fallen Angel. He's been so reliable and so good for us. We had a bit of faith in him, and maybe it cost us, maybe it didn't, I don't know. But overall, you can't be angry. 94, that's really, really good. So we're going to give some props. We'll give some props to Samoa Joe. We'll give some props to Christian, and we'll give some props to Abyss, because Abyss carried Sting big time. And we'll give them some great, because obviously Christian losing the championship, doing the honors to Hassan, we'll give him some respect. Joe for such a great performance, and Abyss for carrying Sting. And there you go. That is Bound for Glory, ladies and gentlemen. That is the big show. That's it. We've done it. Now we move into the second half. I guess it feels like season 2 of the series kind of thing. We move into the next part of the series. This is, a really great event that we've done. You got to be proud of that. We've done a really good job. Very successful. Let's take a look. So, Jerry Lynn hyping up Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy, praising Eric Young. Same with Ron Killings. Our buy rate was 0.52, so blowing any of our pay-per-views out of the water. 0.52, our best buy rate to date. Very, very good. Very, very happy with that. Jazz isn't happy with their booking. Well, too bad. Scott Steiner needs a break. Okay. Alex Skipper obviously has the concussion. How long is he out for? I don't think he will be out. We could be. Let's have a look physically. So he'll be working through. So he'll be fine. Raven has handed in his notice as he's unhappy in TNA. He now has 7 days left in the company. Well, Raven, I am unhappy with you, mate. You have led a absolute letdown, and we don't need you anymore. We honestly don't need you anymore. You're a drug addict. You're drunk. So we don't need you, Raven. I'm sorry. But, you could have been great. If Raven was clean, he would be amazing. But he's not. So there you go. We'll take a quick look before we get out of here of some of the changes, considering this is a big show. Abyss, it's hard to kind of remember how or where people were at, so I might not be able to notice many changes. AJ Styles didn't really move, but that's kind of good because he did lose, so we don't want him to move too much despite the loss. Brother Ray and Devon kind of stayed the same, maybe a slight little increase. Christian, I think Christian dropped a bit. Definitely looks as though he dropped a little bit when losing that match. Fallen Angel, he's up to he's mid-70s, going up to near the 80s. He's getting really up there. Frankie Kazarian, despite the loss, didn't really lose too much, but didn't gain either. Gal Kim might have lost a little bit. Goldberg, how'd he go? So Goldberg, well, you'd have to say he bumped up a little bit. 89 in a few regions and 90 in a couple others. So he had a good night. You'd have to say he definitely bumped up. So that's a very successful debut for him. And like I said, that match with Jeff Jarrett was pretty decent. Pretty good. That's really good news, honestly. We can actually start to use Goldberg and get something out of him. That's very positive. Homicide, he's doing really well. He's getting near that mid-70 mark as well. That's really positive for him. James Storm, he probably dropped a little bit. Jeff Hardy, he got the big win, and he's nearly at the 80 mark, which is where we've been wanting him to be for such a long time. Big relief for getting him there. Jeff Jarrett, he might have dropped a little bit. I don't quite remember Jeff Jarrett's popularity, but he's going steady. He's in the mid-80s. He's doing fine. A few others. Lashley, he got the Battle Royal win. Didn't really help him or matter much. Melina, up to 64. I don't think she increased despite winning the championship. I don't think it really mattered too much. What about Muhammad Hassan? So how did he go after winning the championship? Wow. 91, 92, 93. Wow, there you go. So Christian dropped, but Muhammad Hassan certainly went up big time. And 24 years of age, 93 or if not 90 popularity in the US. Wow, that is just fantastic. Our new world champion. He's killing it. Killing it. Raven, he's gone, so forget about him. Paul Heyman, will debut him next episode probably with Goldberg. Rhino, I don't know what to do with Rhino. He's just in that weird point. Well, do we push him? Do we not? He's just not good enough to where he's going to beat some of our top guys, but he's not bad enough where he's going to lose to our mid-card guys. So maybe a tag team. Maybe we throw him in a tag team. Sabu, I think Sabu might have jumped a little bit. Maybe if he's done okay. He had a good match, so that would have helped. Joe up to 73, so that's good news. After beating Styles, it's helped Joe out a bit. And last couple names, Scott Steiner probably dropped a bit after losing to Jeff Hardy, but that's okay. He's in that role. He's in that role to put people over. He's got 3 months left in his contract. We'll definitely renew, but he's in that role to put guys over. Sting, I don't think Sting really moved. He's fine after losing, and that's about it. So there you go. That is our changes, and we're currently midway through October, so our size, we can't really track if Bound for Glory made a big impact, no pun intended, on our size, but we are really increasing. Look at January when we started, 54 in most regions, 68 in Southeast, up to 69 in most regions, 75 in the Southeast. Unbelievable, really good. And look at the buy rate, 940,000 in revenue compared to 600,000 is what we normally get. So this should be a good month in terms of revenue for us as well. Ticket sales were through the roof as well with our big big attendance that we had at Bound for Glory. Looking at our user stats, Bound for Glory, our highest attendance, but they're still considering Impact with the 94 as our best rated show, which I would like to have seen Bound for Glory there. I really would have. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get there. I felt as though we had done enough, but where that opening match might have just cost us that little bit of points. But there you go. But ultimately, overall, really good show. A lot of success. Now we kind of enter in the next chapter of the series, the next part. Where do we go next? We got some new storylines we've got to start working on. Some big names now are on our roster. Goldberg's here. We got Paul Heyman to work with Goldberg as well. We could bring Bret Hart in a few more times. That was kind of cool. I really like using Bret Hart there. So we've got a few names that we can start to kind of play around with, and we've got a few openings on our roster with a few guys now. Raven, Danielson, Low Key, Lance Hoyt. These names leaving. We might take a look at seeing who we can sign. So the next few episodes, keep an eye out. We might be able to sign another decent free agent to join our roster. So thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed Bound for Glory. Let me know your thoughts on the card. Is this a show that if this came on TV, you would like to watch it? I think so. I think that was a really... if I saw that on pay-per-view, I'd be interested in watching it for sure. but I'm a bit biased. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the series so far. Still plenty more to come. We're not done yet, but I feel like we're entering into the next chapter. So a lot of different things. Hassan is our new champ. We'll see how he goes. And that's, you know, he's going to have to try and carry the company now. I'm going to see how he goes in the next coming weeks and few episodes. So thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.